Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi. I'm your host, Giovanna Tartarone. And today we're going to be talking about not a topic that many of us really want to talk about, but it's important because it is part of life. It's how do we navigate grief and embrace gratitude when we're losing someone that we love or we lost someone that we love. So I'd like to welcome Dr. Stephanie Sullivan on the show.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Miss Gigi, for having me, and I appreciate the
Welcome.
opportunity to share with you guys some of the things that I've faced, and in return was able to help others. Others have shared their testimonials, and I have had the opportunity myself to face grief. I've lost animals. I've lost loved ones that were very dear to me. Recently, 2 years ago, lost my father, and almost a year ago next month it'll be my mother's anniversary of her transitioning. And when you go through these things, you learn to get through it the best way you can, but we shouldn't do this alone. We have to
Right.
realize in this world, when we deal with things, we are not alone. We have to adopt that mindset, or to develop a mindset that I'm going to get through this. There are other things I've encountered. I made it through that.
Mm,
So we need to give ourselves some grace and give ourselves
yeah.
some type of support, a support system. And once you go through these things, it's not for you. It's not against you. It's for you. Because when you go through for yourself, you're also going through for others. And I've learned to navigate through grief through the losing after losing my parent by, number one, getting support, talking, sharing, and
Mm,
accepting your feelings. Be realistic about your feelings, and give yourself an opportunity, and give yourself time. Time is of essence when you're dealing with certain things in life. Life happens.
yeah, of course.
Life be lifing, and we just have to be realistic about things and understand that I'm going to get through this. And
Yeah. It,
and when you realize you need yourself,
of
first of all,
course.
you need yourself, and others need you. You begin to maintain the proper mindset, because the mind and the heart works together. I think
Yeah,
they are sisters and brothers, the mind and the heart.
of
So
course. I love how you say, you need a support system because I, like yourself, have lost my mom when I was 30. And then 15 years later, I lost my dad. And still, I still feel the emptiness in my heart that from losing your parents. I mean, it's never going to go away, but having that support system is so crucial in helping you get through it. Um, and just accepting that it is part of life and we're all going to transition one day. But how do you, I'm so glad that you're here to, give us some tips on how, because I never had a coach. I went through it alone. My sisters and siblings and brothers went through it alone. And it was very difficult, especially at such a young age, to try to manage family life and then losses of loved ones. So, how do you support others when they're going through their transition?
well, I actually, what I do is give them a sense of hope. Hope is very
Mm,
important, when you're dealing with a sense of loss. We tend to sometimes we want to give up, but to be straight direct with you as far as how to deal with them, first of all, I like to share with them the stages of grief so that they can
mm,
understand. The level of awareness brings about prevention. You know,
yes.
bring them to a level of knowledge about what the stages are. and
Mm.
let them understand that the stages of grief, there are 5 that I focus on in my book. My book will soon to be published, but I share with them the 5 stages of grief, and then I develop a plan of action to help them get through. But first, I'd like to share with them the stages of grief, and we have 5 that I focus on, and the first one is denial. Okay. The second one is anger. And the third one, bargaining. The fourth one is depression. And the fifth one is acceptance. See, denial and acceptance are 2 that really are the ones that
Mm.
we really tend to, I would say, that we deal with the most. We're in
Yeah.
denial that it has happened because sometimes we get numb when we lose someone that are dear to us. Denial,
Yes.
and then also acceptance. Denial, we don't want to accept it. We begin to deal with denials first,
Mm.
and the acceptance has to step in some type of way. We have to urge ourselves in the fact that we're dealing with this, but we need to find a solution. We all have problems, but we need to come up with
Yeah.
a solution in order to navigate through this life. Because when we come from one situation, there's another situation. So we're going to have to learn to navigate through life, especially grief, by number one, getting support, a support system,
Yes.
getting a support system. Then in those support systems comes from community-based groups or, grief groups, uh, ministerial staff from your church, um,
Yes.
um, prayer groups. I'm a praying woman, but guess what? I'm human. That human aspect of me did not want to accept that my mama is gone. My mama that I talk with every day and that I pray with often. I went to see her every day. Last year, this time I was in the hospital with her. Um, Over the holidays last year, I was backwards and forwards to the doctor with her 1 year ago. She was in the hospital. 2 weeks later, February the 5th, my mama is no more. But I began to realize that she's with me every day. I have to in order for me to heal, I need to
Yeah.
give myself some grace. So,
Absolutely.
tips to get through this, like we said earlier, get some support. Find you a holistic or a strong support system that can be family, church groups, grief groups, prayer
Mm.
groups, uh, a therapist. Don't rule any of these things out because
Right, because most people like to just, be alone, don't wanna talk to anybody, and just try to deal with it on their own, and you're right, if you're not getting the help you need, eventually you probably will lead into depression and being angry, and that's only hurting yourself, right?
yeah,
So it is so essential to stay connected, um, to get help to, you know, manage it, right? Because we have to manage it. It's not gonna go away, it's not gonna come back. Nothing's gonna change other than how we change and how we, deal with it.
how we perceive it. Yes,
Yeah,
it's not what happens; it's how you respond to what happens. Things gonna
right.
happen, but how did you respond? Based on your response, that will determine how will you get through it. See, it's how you respond and
Yeah.
how you interact with what has happened. Am I gonna continue to stay in this state? Because if I make up in my mind that I'm gonna get through this, I'm gonna get through it. It's mindset is everything. Your mind.
Yes, it's whatever you're thinking, of course.
Your thought process and it's a heart, how your heart and your mind connects. There's a connect there. And if they fighting against
Yeah.
one another, of course there's gonna be a disconnect. So
Mhm.
when we embrace the knowledge, we can navigate and process things a lot better because knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. So with that
Yes.
being said, it is important that we strive to enter into the grace period, because grace causes us
Absolutely.
to get through things better than us condemning, blaming, wanting to retaliate.
Yes.
But God tells us that earth, in so many words, earth has no sorrow that heaven cannot heal. And when we
Hmm.
realize that we belong to God first, we belong to God first. God loaned us our parents. God loaned us our children. God loaned us our sisters and brothers and our neighbors and our friends. None of us are here to stay. We're strangers passing through. And we have more years behind us than we have before us. We don't know what tomorrow brings.
Yeah.
So after realizing my parents lived good long lives, daddy 92, mom was 85.
Oh, God bless. Absolutely.
So I need to run a race like that and stop holding on to situations and people when God said their time is up, their time is up. And
Mm.
we don't have the power, God does.
So when we're coping with grief, sometimes if we don't get help, it can last a long, long time,
It's
right?
best to,
And and we miss out on other things that we can um, do to help us
yes, we
enjoy
are.
life again, right?
Yes,
Enjoy life again. It's like
yes,
life stops. I remember
yes.
that happened to me.
Yeah, you start regressing and not wanting to enjoy
Mm,
life, but we have to grab hold of ourselves, get a grip on ourselves. What they said, check yourself before you wreck yourself. Because if you don't, you're gonna get in that state where you're gonna be too depressed to get yourself out of that.
yeah. So
So
yeah, it's so important. I agree. What do you think of journaling as a way to preserve the good memories?
journaling
Um,
is one of the best approaches to overcoming grief. Journaling, exercising,
mm,
eating healthy. There are several healthy ways of coping with grief. Journaling, exercising, walking, eating the right food. Some people sit there and eat all types of foods to help suppress. Wrong way, wrong approach. It is
okay.
important that we write something, journalize things, how we feel, if it's bad or good, negative or positive. It is important that we journal, exercise, whether we take a walk in the neighborhood, go
Mm.
to the gym, um, walk walk in the mall. Um,
Release that energy, right?
yes,
Basically, yeah.
we have to find a way. There's a way to do it, because at the end of the day, what are you doing to give yourself the grace you need to make it through? What are you doing?
Absolutely.
You're
And we
important.
think
You're important. You matter. You matter. I know your
that's right.
feelings. You're dealing with your feelings. You're dealing with the hurt. You're dealing with the loss. But at the end of the day, you matter. You matter.
I remember, my own personal experience losing my mom. It was November 1st, All Saints Day. And I had no desire to do Thanksgiving. I had no desire to celebrate Christmas. But I had my son, who was very young. I think he was 8 years old. No, I'm sorry, he was 3 years old. And I could not put everything on hold and not let him, experience Christmas. I just felt like she wanted me to do this. Right, and actually doing it and having family over, again, the support system, just to have that moment was something that actually helped me instead of if I would have not done Christmas or celebrated Christmas, I think it would have hurt me even more.
You're gonna have another form of regret.
Right, right. So, yeah, I definitely appreciate, knowing that, it's so important to continue your life and manage the loss so that you don't have any regrets, right? Because we don't know when we're going to go. So
So we need
it's,
to, that makes us, that should
yeah,
unction us to say, I don't know how long I got. I better let this go. Grieve, but what they say, you can lay in it, but don't wallow.
yeah,
Don't
amazing.
don't stay there. You can't stay in those situations because it can bring on massive, severe depression, and it's hard to come out of deep-seated depression when you could have gotten you some help. You deserve help. You helping everybody else. I keep saying it. You help everybody else. Why
Yeah,
not help yourself? We have
yeah,
we have
absolutely.
a habit of helping others, but what about helping ourselves?
I totally agree. I totally agree. Well, we're going to take a short break and we're going to come back and let's talk about some of your clients and how you help them. I know you're also in the educational world and you deal with children as a school counselor. I'd love to hear some of those experiences you've had when, children have lost their loved ones because it's definitely a different approach in a sense when it's a child versus an adult. So we'll be right back, everyone.
Now, the vast majority, approximately 95% of the people of all countries, go around and around without aim or purpose. They drift with the circumstances of life, good or bad.
A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind.
Whereas the successful individuals create their own circumstances and ride them to victory.
When you're on purpose, you're living on purpose. You will never quit if you have a real purpose.
A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. But what I have done has been recorded, it's been tested, it's being taken to a free world, and it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born.
And it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born. We're some of those people that we're spreading this to the world. As your awareness grows, the doubt is gone so that you can manifest whatever it is your heart desires. Isn't that beautiful?
Welcome back, everyone. So let's talk about how you deal with children who experience loss.
Okay. Dealing with those kids at the school has been tremendous, has been a journey, has been, um, I would say, extremely rewarding because once you realize that they really need you, you begin to strive to be the best that you can be because when they look back and when you look back, you can see that you were impactful. Um, you want to be transformational in every setting that you go into because you're needed. And
Mm,
I've helped students along the way for a long period of time, starting in the 90s, starting in 2001. I became a mental health therapist. 2001, sorry, 1999. And then I stopped in 2003 and became a teacher. And leaving the teacher profession in 2014, I became a school counselor from 2000. And currently, I'm a school counselor to this day. And I've helped students in various capacities. Some, like we said, lost their parent, they've lost grandparent, they've lost siblings, and being there to support them is
mhm.
was very, I would say, meaningful because they were very transparent and they were passive about what was needed and being
And you,
just just listening. Sometimes people just need you to listen.
yes, of
Sometimes,
course.
yeah, some people want to do all of the talking, but at some point, people just want you to hear them out. You know,
And
um,
you created support groups, I would imagine, within the
yes, we have
community of
small group
kids.
interventions. We do small groups.
Hmm.
When students feel like they're not alone, it helps. Even adults when they see that they're not alone. It really helps them.
Yeah,
Um, but some people want that privacy, so you can give them that due process. That privacy is very important because some people don't do well in groups. Some people like solitary moments. Some people, like you
sure.
said earlier, likes to be isolated. Which I just need that time. And people do deserve that privacy, that private moment to
Hmm.
to express themselves alone or feel the way they feel alone. Um, I just enjoy the small groups because we get a chance to share how we're feeling, and then don't make it seem like they're the only ones dealing with it. You need to, at some point, a therapist or a counselor or a support group needs to say, "Yeah, I know how you feel." Empathy, sympathy, they all should play a part in what's going on because no one wants to feel like they're alone in this. You need to be able to say,
Of
"Oh yeah,
course.
I've been in that situation. I'm still navigating myself. I have some days myself." So once we get together with those children, we get together and share uh, ways to solve problems, ways to conflict resolution, personal space. Some people feel like they don't want to be
Because
with.
a lot comes, yeah. So what you're saying is that a lot comes up when not only they're going through their grief of their loss, but other things will come up and where they need support
They need
during that
support.
time.
Yes, we provide resources. It's
Yes.
important. People need resources. You need to find a way to give resources. Be caring, sharing, giving. Uh, that extra, we say, support system is extremely vital. Um,
Yes, I
helping
agree.
those groups, let them sign in and let them feel like they are part of. Let them get something out of the bucket, pick them something out that they feel like they want that day, and let them know that you're still caring, that you're there. They're
Yeah.
dealing with
Yeah,
trauma,
and you're
lots of trauma in
absolutely.
children of today, lots of trauma. I've dealt
And
with.
I'm
Hmm?
sorry, go ahead. I
I've dealt,
apologize. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I interrupted.
you're fine. I've dealt with students who literally saw their loved ones shot down in their presence. They have to have counseling.
Mm,
That's
yeah.
traumatic.
Yeah.
So
And I was going to say, it's the emotions behind, you know, the incident, whether it's losing a loved one or you see that in front of your eyes. It's how we manage the emotions that is extremely important because, again, it can put you in a place of darkness where you don't care about life, and you don't care what happens, or you can remain in the light where you can receive the help and you're open to receiving it. So it's how we process these emotions that creates the mental state of our well-being. And so what you do is really crucial in a sense that it helps people just continue to live life regardless of the situations that they are encountering. So when you give us a story of maybe a client that comes to you that you have helped them through,
yeah, I
how
have.
you have helped them through.
Oh, yes, I've had a client. I worked with her, and she's retired now. Um, I worked with her next door. She was teaching, and she told me she lost her granddaughter, and she
Yeah.
told me that she would love for me to share some tips or share some support, preventive measures to ensure that she don't remain in depressive state. So I began to share with her that um, she can get through this, and share with her I was sorry for her loss and be able to have empathy for her and let her know that I've lost a lot of loved ones, several loved ones that was dear to me at the time. And she said that she needed me throughout the week to help her get through the week because she lost her granddaughter. And I told her that there is hope and that your granddaughter's with you every day, and letting her know that
Mm.
her granddaughter is her angel now, and that she's not dead. She's resting. And you need to realize that God need good people too. God need good people too. And most of the time we feel like only the people who out here doing wrong should be off the earth. But God wants to give them much. He loves all of his children. He wants to give us all a
Mhm.
chance to get it right. And I told her that God needed her for himself at that time. So he gave us, that's why it's important for us to appreciate one another when we're here, because we don't know. So I told her that God needs good people as well, and that you will get through this. Told her to start journaling, go to the gym, take a walk in the mall, take a walk in the neighborhood, get some support, and start finding ways that helps you the best practices for you. What works for you won't work for someone else.
Right.
So
Right.
she's still communicating with me to this day, letting me know that I never forget how you were next door to me. I was a teacher and you supported me. I said, yes.
Mm.
I said, I was a teacher before myself, going through changes. And there are times I would go to her room and give her breaks so that she could get some time away, go, walk down the hall, go sit in the lounge a few minutes. She need a moment to cry. Go to your car and sit in your car. And those are things she did. And so right now we
Mhm.
still text. She texts me prayer requests. She texts me uh, how things are going. She texts me when her mom passed. She asked God to give her mother a few more years, and God did that for her mother. But when my mother passed, I had to call her, and to receive the same support.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
don't understand that domino effect is very important. The domino effect is inevitable. You know,
Of
so
course. Of course.
I really
And
appreciate. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. And that's what I'm going to go into now is appreciation and gratitude, right? Um,
Yeah,
how important it is that even though we're faced with these challenging times, there's still things that we can be grateful for. So let's talk about that because one would think, well, what is there to be grateful for? I just lost my mom, right? But the truth of the matter is, you're still here, and there's people that love you, and it is important that we still give grace and gratitude for what we do have. Correct?
correct, correct. Yes.
Yeah.
I want to say that even when I divorced, I felt like it was a great loss, but at the same time, I didn't lose myself. I didn't lose
Mm.
myself. My girls are fine. They both are young adults. I lost some material things, but those are things you can get back, but you can't get yourself back. So I'm
Yeah.
thankful. I'm
Mm.
thankful that I'm happier. I'm thankful that I don't have to stay in places and spaces that don't value me. Um, I'm thankful for I had choices. I'm thankful for the fact that I'm still complete. I'm a whole, complete woman who wants better for my life. And you can be what you want to be, but if you see something that does not measure up to who you are, then you have to make some decisions and what's best for you. And I'm glad that I made decisions better for me when it came to the divorce side. But your parent, you just can't replace them. You want to hold on
No.
to them. You want to hold on to them, and you see that they're vanishing. You see that they're not themselves anymore. And if they can't, if you see where you got to your dad at 90, 91 years old, and you're having to bath them, they not happy with that. So I'm
Yeah.
thankful that they
Mm.
had the dignity. They had the dignity and the pride about themselves. I don't want my children taking care of me like this. And it gives you a sense of not only
Mm.
belonging, a sense of uh, dignity and pride that was instilled in you. I don't want to hold my children down to me when I could just say, well, God, I feel like I'm ready. And my parent got to that point. If they were
Yeah.
ready, I can't hold on to them and make them stay in that state. My parents worked till they was 80 some years old, both of them. And they were just independent. They wanted to get out and be doing and be active. And so I'm thankful for what they instilled in me. I'm thankful for
Yeah.
they gave me a chance to life, a chance to go to college, a chance to see me graduate with a doctorate degree. I'm thankful for all that. A chance to see me bring my girls into the world and ensure that I supported them the way they supported me. So I'm thankful for those things. I have an attitude of gratitude behind that. So
And that's so important for you to carry on, right?
carry
To
on the
keep
legacy.
that carry on the legacy and also to keep that hope and that faith alive in
Yes.
you.
And keep and a lot let people see that what my parent instilled in me, I'm passing it on to my children, and that I
Mm.
will not make their name or their legacy and their lives look bad. I want to be able to go through life and call my parents' name and people smile. That's what I'm thankful for now. Now I could say this in 2010, 2000, no, 2022 when my father passed. I couldn't say this last year, this time, seeing my mother in the hospital. And the doctors was making some statements about her not making it. That wasn't easy. But now, as I get through the process and I exercise the muscles of faith, exercise the muscles of wisdom and knowledge, I can move forward now and just say, God, help me to make my days count like they did.
Right. Absolutely. And this is how we, it's so important to approach life in this way. Otherwise, we will fall into that trap of not caring anymore, not caring about us. And if we don't care about us, then we're affecting the people around us. Right.
Correct.
So, and I always say, never forget where we came from. Never forget,
So,
because it's life is not easy. But we have people around us that do love us and do support us, even in the times of when we're not feeling like we want to talk to anyone. They're always there. We're never alone. And with even with the fires that are happening now in California, there's so many people that are living with being concerned or have lost loved ones. But this is the message that we want to send, that there was always someone out there to help you,
yes.
and to reach out, like you said, go to your local church, go to the local communities, um, ask for help. I do know, and I've learned this the hard way, that many people don't like to ask for help. They're embarrassed to ask for help. And this is where we have to change this mindset, because we came on this earth to support each other. It's the foundation of why we're here. And asking for help is not something to be ashamed of. In fact, it makes you a stronger person. So have you come across people who just don't want to go down that path? And how do you help them to overcome that, isolation, like not wanting to have any help?
Well, you kind of have to make them feel comfortable. Try to
Yeah.
just make them feel comfortable and make them feel like they are a part of. Some people are loners, and I know that some people are loners and people are not sociable, but you can find a way to reach them and call and follow up. It's important that you make a connection some kind of way to make them feel
Yeah.
that they are wanted and that they are a part of and that they're not alone. So a text message, a phone call,
Mm.
stop in and drop a package off, if it's something I can do for you, and that'll make them pull in or make them give and take a little bit, so
Yes.
make them feel like you are there for them despite them wanting to be alone. Some people get alone and commit suicide. So that's why it's important to check in, to follow up, be consistent
Mm.
and persistent in your practices,
Absolutely.
you know.
Are there any strategies that, for those who do want to be alone, that you feel that could be helpful for them? Because like you said, everyone processes emotions differently. Some might need longer time to get back on their feet. Um, what would your recommendation be to those who do want to spend time by themselves?
Well, I would say the best approach is ask them would you like to go to dinner, take them to lunch with you. Ask do they want to go to lunch? Can you would you like to go to church with me Sunday? Would you like to go to this event with me? Just invite, invite, invite. And at some point in time they will give in. They will buy into what you're
Mm,
suggesting for them. So that I think that would be impactful for that individual because everybody's have their own unique way and their unique styles of how
mm,
they want to do things. Some people life different than other people life. They
yes.
but some people does come out of their shell when they see that you're sincere. Some people are what you call it are inspectors or they are not just inspectors, they are investigative for the wrong reasons. Some people they're
Mm,
not intentional. Some people are not intentional. Some people have ulterior motives. But when they see that you're sincere, and when that's
mhm,
why it's important to maintain a certain status about yourself so that people can trust you. You know, people have lost trust in a lot of people because they've let them down. But
yeah.
once they see and realize who you are, then they may give in. They may just say, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to take the offer this time." So it's important to be
Mhm.
consistent and let them know that you're not giving up on them.
Love that. So if we take a situation where the community wants to help, they're not the person who has losses, who lost a loved one, is not saying anything, but let's say a neighbor knows that happened. How can the community help that individual, even though they're not saying anything? Because sometimes that really happens. Like I'm surprised that someone lost a loved ones. I find out like weeks later. So let's say if I knew, what can I do as a friend to give support? Even though they didn't come to me and they don't know that I know, is there anything that I can do for them? Whether it be creating a GoFundMe account or I don't know, I'm just thinking out of the box here. But I'm sure that there's some things that the community can do to support people who have lost loved ones.
Yes, in the past, I've seen where churches, um,
Mm,
support groups, they take groceries over there. And they said, "Look, we saw about the loss. We heard about it. We just want to bring something in to you all. Um, maybe a cake, some
yeah.
water, you know, get it started like that. You have to take baby steps with certain things. And some people are very private, and I respect that because people can take other people's business and they are all over the place with it. So I can understand now why people are very private. There are so many things going on in the world now until people now it's hard to trust
Yeah.
like you really want to. But being that you want to support, I would say I heard that this happened and I want to bring these items over. I'm going to bring them over. You don't have to talk. You don't have to engage. But I'm going to bring these things over and place them at your front door and put them on the swing or put them under the
Mhm.
carport, something like that, because
Yes.
I really understand why people are as private and withdrawn the way they are because there are a lot of things that's happened in their lives. People have experienced a lot of trauma and people have experienced a lot of loss, grief, and they don't manage it well. So
Right.
the best
And the
approach.
trust is not there, like you said,
Mhm.
right? They don't really trust anyone because of what they've been through.
That's
So,
that's that's all in a nutshell. Very good. Yes. Yes.
and it's so important to reach out to those who have, uh, you know, gone through losses of loved ones because you really want to, it's almost like give them a hand to lift them up, right? Whatever you can do to lift them up because it's so hard to do it on our own because all we're doing is thinking of the moments um, of 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 losing that loved one in our lives, and we don't want really to speak to no one or go out and deal with life at that time. So it's so important for the community to give support, like you mentioned. Is there anything else you would like to share or, give advice as far as encouragement um, to those who have experienced have experienced a lost one in their life?
Yes. Uh, Lastly, I often use a scenario that if you plan to fail, you fail to plan. And
Mm,
often I also use proper planning prevents poor performance. A lot of things we don't plan because life, you can't really plan life. As an
no.
educator,
Mhm.
I've realized teachers have done lesson plans, but you may have a student that may have something going on, and you can't just plan life the way you want it to be planned. We can plan our life all we want, but when life is life and life is happening, you have to go with the flow. And y- based on how you respond will determine the kind of results you get. Mindset is everything. It is very important to maintain a positive mindset and always prepare for the worst. Sometimes you have to prepare for the worst because life
Well,
happens.
yeah. So
Life,
yeah, and I can see from, from what you've stated, we can't prepare for death. I mean, let's make it clear. We can't prepare. We don't know when we're going,
no.
but you can prepare to lessen the hurt, I guess, by building good relationship with people, right? By, you know, supporting each other in this venture of called life, because life is a school, and everything that comes our way, it's a lesson that we're learning.
Yes, it
So,
is.
right. So it is important to always be, like you say, at your best, right? Be at
Ye-
your best to give support to each other, regardless of whatever's happening, because what you put out there, you get back.
Yes, you reap what you sow. Yes,
That's right. And in these times, especially when someone is hurt, to lend a helping hand is crucial because you don't know when you're going to need that helping hand.
you- it's just wise, very, very good. That is absolutely correct, Miss
Right.
Gigi. All I can say is that be on your best, be on your best behavior and be on your best approach when it comes to supporting others, support yourself, and if you can help because it's going to come back. Big dividends.
That's
Uh,
right.
Big
And they
dividends.
said, that's right. That's right. Because Big Boy is watching all the time,
That's
right?
it. That's right. So we have I say often I never concern myself with who's watching me. I'm concerned about the one. His eyes on the sparrow. His eyes are all over the universe. So he's looking at
That's
me. He
right.
see me. He's monitoring me. I'm not concerned about monitoring spirits. Um, Someone said last night on a message, they said most people on social media are FBI's. I said, wonder what he's saying. He called them FBI's, Facebook investigators. I said, wow. Well, it doesn't matter who's watching. We know who's watching us. We're not concerned ourselves about the naysayers, the daysayers. The, we're concerned about making a better life ourselves and making the world a better place. And I believe in making the world a better place. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want anyone to hurt me. If I see harm,
Right.
if I see that I'm in harm's way, I'm not too proud to remove myself. I remove myself from jobs. I remove myself from relationships. Any type of affiliation that don't add to me or better me, I'm willing to move myself without a problem. Because we know that God is not the author of confusion, but of peace.
That's right. And it's making decisions based on faith, basing it on that whatever we're doing, is to, as you say, make this world a better place.
Yes, that's
And
right. Mm-hmm.
and this is part of it. This is, this is where we even get tested sometimes. I remember one time I said to my daughter, you have no idea who is presented in front of you. God could be disguised as your neighbor, right? To test you to see how you behave. Because and I truly believe in that, because I've had many incidents where, I felt like, wow, I felt so good doing something, but extra good. And to me, I see it like sometimes we do get tested. So it is so important to give help where you can, especially when someone is going through grief or loss, right? Because they're not themselves either. So it's important for us to be compassionate and understanding that they might be going through a hard time, and maybe they're saying things that, may be hurtful, but, being compassionate and understanding is crucial, so that you can maintain the relationship and not feel like, uh, you're being taken advantage of. And have you seen that situation as well, where someone is going through a hard time because of their loss and becomes like a mean person? Because I promise you, I wasn't very a happy person when I lost my mom. And, it was very hard for me to deal with trying to be kind, and compassionate to others when I couldn't even be kind and compassionate to myself because of the loss.
Yes, I was like that. I was angry. I
Yeah.
was I was upset because I'm so used to her getting out the hospital, coming back home, and just being her normal self. But this time, this particular weekend, I stayed with her that Friday night. When my sister relieved me around noon that Saturday, and then that Sunday morning, my sister called and said, "Mama, don't look, something is not going right. She don't seem herself, her real self." So we rushed her to the emergency room, and they did a little emergency surgery. And then after that, the surgery didn't do her well. And I feel good that we did the best we could, but we
Mm.
wasn't happy with the outcome. But we understand that God's way of doing things don't register with us. And so
Mm.
it was a process that we had to get through. And it's almost, like I said, it's almost a year. This time last year, she was in the hospital. 2 weeks later, she was gone, because we used to her coming home after each hospital visit. Happened too fast, didn't register well, wasn't happy. A little depression stepped in, but I realized that I needed to give myself some grace, because I was with her most of December, getting her backwards and forwards to the hospital. When you've done what you could do, it's nothing else you could do, because God is
Mm.
in charge. He has the
You
first and the
know,
last say.
absolutely. It's hard for me not to share my personal story, just making the validation that God is in charge. My mom was getting very sick around October 22nd.
Hmm.
October 28th is my birthday. October 27th is my brother's birthday. We tried the best we could to celebrate our birthdays with us, and we were going, but why isn't God taking her? She's so sick. Like, we don't want to watch her suffer. And, he decided to take on All Saints Day, November 1st.
Hmm.
Right now, I look back and I say, okay, now I know why he wasn't taking her for my birthday. He wasn't taking her on any other day but that day. And actually, I feel so honored that he took her on that day,
He
right?
let her
Because
linger. He let her linger with you for your birthday. That was his
yeah,
grace. That was his grace.
right. And again, it's hard to look at that when we're in the midst of it. But now that I look back, I go, wow, there was a reason. There's always a reason. And I do not believe in accidents or coincidences at all. Everything happens exactly the way it's meant to be.
Yes.
Um, and I'm very again compassionate for those who are losing loved ones, who have lost loved ones, because the feelings and the emotions are strong, and we need to be reminded that we still need to be compassionate with ourselves, give grace to ourselves, and know that they're going to a better place.
Yes, they're doing better than us. And I have to embrace that. I have
Yes.
to embrace that logistic, or that logic. I have to embrace that. She's doing better than me. She's with her sister, her mother, her father, my father, and she's with all of her loved ones. And I'm sure she's having a great time. She don't have any troubles. She don't have any
And she
trouble.
probably stopped suffering, right? I can say with my mom and dad, they both stopped suffering
Yeah.
from not being well and being poked, millions of times.
Um,
So that's not a great life to have either. But, it's about being compassionate to others. And this is, the message I want to send everybody on the, who's listening on the show, is that reach out for help if you're going through a loss of a loved one. Please know that there is people out there that can help you get through it. Stephanie, how can people get a hold of you if they want to connect with you, so that maybe they can receive some support?
Oh, I have my link here, my website. I have my email address. My email address is drdrstephanie63@gmail.com. My phone number
Okay.
is 601-597-1757. And I look forward to connecting and working with them, promoting my business, promoting my services as a grief loss coach, helping women, middle-aged women, to navigate through grief. And I look forward to working with them and helping them get through at ease and being able to live a normal life without struggling with grief. So that's my website, my phone number,
Mm,
and my email address.
thank you. And yeah, and that's definitely is the what we want to see is to help people still continue to live their life,
Yes.
even though their loved ones have passed, because you are an important person as well. And we tend to forget that when we're going through these experiences, but they are part of life. But know that there is a way to get through it. And there's people here absolutely to support you. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Stephanie Sullivan, for joining me. I really appreciate you coming on and, sharing your wisdom with my audience, and for all the work that you do. Thank you again. And I know you said your book is coming out. What is the name of your book, real quick?
The name of my book is Navigating Through Grief After Loss. That should
Okay.
be coming out in March, and I'm going to be selling it on Amazon, and I'm going to have some here selling from the house. From
Okay.
my office here. So
Awesome.
I'll let you all know. I'll stay in touch with you and let you know. And thank you for purchasing. And it was my pleasure being on.
Wow.
And I'll look forward to working more with you and your team. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Until next time, I'm your host, Giovanna Tardavone. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Thank you, Dr.
Bye-bye.
Sullivan.
Thank you.
Thank you for
God
joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchange.now.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with Gigi.